Shalom, Kal Thahaleth, the Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi, Kal Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, labor in this word and doctrine, and shalom to the elect. What a time to be alive, blood. What a time to be alive, bro. What a time. Alright, so C19, UK introduces mandatory hotel quarantine for travellers returning from red list country. So if you go into a country, it might say in the article, I've not actually read it yet, it might say in the article, but there's certain ones that are listed red high, high alert or high threat level. If you come back from them into the UK, they're setting up hotels where they're just going to keep people. They call it a hotel quarantine. Really, it's a detention centre. And, well, the body of Mashiach, Yahawashi, starting with the apostles on down, have been prophesying of these such events. Even if you check the 10-year-old signs or whatever, it talks about all manner of similar events. So let's just go ahead and read this. It says, UK nationals and residents returning from red list countries will be placed in quarantine in government-provided accommodation, such as hotels, for 10 days, Boris Johnson has told MPs. if you've got a spiritual eye, I did not even read that, man. That's beautiful. UK nationals and residents returning from red list countries will be placed in quarantine in government-provided accommodation, such as hotels, for 10 days. Boris Johnson has told MPs. And are we saying this is the culmination, the ultimate end? La'ah. Even shawa'al la'ah. Oh man, I might just need to go and grab that script now, man. What the hell? Shalom, this is Revelation 2:10. It says, "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer," meaning you shall suffer it. Not you might, not it may be. You shalt suffer, you shall suffer. "Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison." And we're going to get that word for prison. "Shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life." Now I do need to put a disclaimer. It doesn't necessarily mean a complete 10-day exactly period. It's just talking as a completed, I should have just said it like that, a complete amount of time. Alright, it's talking of a complete amount of time. When we check this word prison in the Greek, watch now. The word prison. Listen.
Strong's G5438.
Fulake. It says guard, watch, a watching, keep watch, to keep watch. Persons keeping watch, a guard, sentinel. Of the place where captives are kept, a prison. Of the time of night during which guard was kept, a watch, i.e. period of time during which part of the guard was on duty, and at the end of which others relieved them, as the earlier Greek. You know what? We'll allow that. But you also have the Roman, I can't remember what they call it, the Roman watchmen. They had different, you can get into that if you want, but they had different sort of, shifts. They had different shifts that they occupied, so you had like a rota going on. But the word is prison, 36, watch, 6, imprisonment, 2, hold, 1, cage, 1, ward, 1. And what are you doing if you're being detained, or if you're quarantining truly meaning 40 days, but if you're decantining, meaning 10, I made that word up. But if you're getting held, if you're getting imprisoned, and if you're getting watched over, like they were talking about, well, some people struggle to do it in their own house. On this other video, I uploaded it. I'll just put it on the end, Lord willing. If people are struggling to do that, then we need it supervised, aka what? Watch, guarded, caged up. So let's get back. So the Prime Minister said the new measures, which will be set out by Home Secretary Priti Patel later on Wednesday, which will be today, and at the time of recording this, it was only like 4 minutes after this thing was posted. So on Wednesday, I aimed at preventing mutant strains of the crown pestilence from reaching the UK. Well, if people have travelled in and they've got it, it's going to reach the UK. Then what if it starts breaking out in the little centres or whatever, and you have room service and you have food, and it gets... If the Lord wants it to go down like that, it will. No, say that. Alright? He told them, please... I'm stuck. Let me... 1 minute. I don't know what happened there, but I couldn't scroll. Anyway, it says he told MPs, I want to make clear that under the stay-at-home regulations, it is illegal to leave home to travel abroad for leisure purposes. So it's illegal. Sounds like 2nd Ezra 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So I want it to make it clear. He wants to make it clear, and I want to make it clear to you that it's now illegal to leave home to travel abroad. Meaning, really, it means far away. It means another country in this context. To travel abroad for leisure purposes, and we will enforce this at ports and airports by asking people why they are leaving and instructing them to return home if they do not have a valid reason to travel. So if you want to enter into a city, unless you have a valid reason, you shall not be able. Which, how we see it coming about, is a point where, well, even if it's necessary, it's spreading so fast, we can't let you out, Jeddah. We have also banned all travel from 22 countries where there is a risk of known variants, including South Africa, Portugal, and South American nations. And even the scientists, so-called, the scientists falsely so-called, because science means knowledge, the true knowledge is of the hopeful elect, or of the elect, let me say. The true scientists, the true, if you want to say Gnostics, the knowledgeable ones, they would be the elect. But the scientists, falsely so-called, will tell you, well, viruses mutate. Alright, so what's different about this one? So it's going to mutate. So right now they've only banned 22, and I'm speaking as a man. By no means am I prophesying and saying this is to happen. But how I can see it is that they say, well, no, we can't go anywhere because it keeps, mutating and mutating to the point where we just think for safety purposes and to protect everyone and bring love and joy and happiness and the pursuit of freedom to all man, we're just going to have to stop travel for the meantime. And that meantime is not going to be a mean time, it's going to be a very mean time, if you know what I mean time. So it's not going to go back to normal. Once they start getting a grip around your proverbial bollock, then you're not getting out, man. They've got you in a vice grip. And it's a perfect, as we always say, it's a perfect excuse to increase, as they would say, draconian measures, going back to a ruler called Draco. You can look that man up. But it might even be worse than Draco's ruling. And in order to reduce the risk posed by UK nationals and residents returning home from these countries, I can announce that we will require all such arrivals who cannot be refused entry to isolate in government-provided accommodation, such as hotels. So it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone's going to get a lovely little hotel. And what happens when it keeps ramping up, and you have all these, as I just said, all these variants, and you've got too many people to contain to keep them in fancy hotels, you're going to have to resort to another manner of building or edifice. Are you not? So it says such as hotels for 10 days without exception. So 10 days without exception. But fear none of these things, innit? As it's written. It says they will be met at the airport and transported directly into quarantine. Mr. Johnson said the Department of Health and Social Care was working to establish quarantine facilities as quick as possible, and I wonder where they will be, if they will all in fact be in hotels, or rather not. Right, it says it is understood travellers will have to pay to isolate in a monitored hotel with Crown pestilence testing carried out during their stay. So even though you're getting detained against your will by entering into the country, they can say, well, you've consented because you knew what the guideline was. And therefore, you're going to have to pay. You're going to have to pay to have a nice little hotel all to yourself. What a joyous occasion. It says the move has been widely anticipated in the recent weeks, with critics arguing the government should have taken tougher action sooner. So it's going to get to the point, well, no, it's too late, and then they're going to need more austere measures. They have pointed to the examples of Australia and New Zealand, who have had mandatory quarantines since the early weeks of the pandemic. I don't think that's a buzzword, but it might be. And have largely eliminated transmission of the virus. Again, that might be a buzzword, is what it is. Within their borders, reports in recent days have emerged of competing views in government over how wide-ranging the mandatory quarantine shall be. And let me just climb this hill. It says it has been suggested that ministers have been arguing the mandatory quarantine should apply to arrivals for all countries, while others have been advocating targeting certain nations deemed to pose more risk. Labour, that would be for you brothers in America, obviously not exactly, but the sort of similar one would be the Democrats in terms of their leanings politically. It is different, there's nuances, but that would be probably the closest. Has been calling for a blanket quarantine requirement, arguing that not applying it to all travellers would leave gaping holes in our nation's defences against different strains of the pestilence emerging around the world. The SNP, that would be the Scottish National Party, that wants to sort of look that up. It doesn't really matter for this. The SNP's Westminster leader, Ian Blackford, told Mr. Johnson that both the Scottish and Welsh governments want to go further on quarantine measures than what his UK government is proposing. And what I was going to say is they want sort of independence from the English rule, really what it is. Said he called on the Prime Minister to stop his half measures and introduce stricter enforcement on international travel. Meaning he wants someone to desire to go into a city and not be able at all. So I'm excited. Let's get the script. In chapter 3, verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. It says, behold, I come quickly, hold that fast which thou hast, that no man take thy crown. And it talks about the crown of life as we've read. We'll read it again. Revelation 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. And if this isn't a re-upload, and you saw smitten my channel, then it should be the video before this, or something. It talks about the same subject, so it's a news excerpt. I said I'd add it to the video. I'm actually deciding against that now. I think it'll be too long. It'll lose your focus. 2 Timothy 1 and 7, for Yahawah hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. So power, what is powerful? Powerful is manifesting this verbally before it comes to pass, prophecy. Amos 3 and 7, surely the Lord Yahawah, bahasham Yahawashi, will do nothing but he revealeth his secret unto his servants the prophets. So that's a powerful spirit to have, you know, to be able to be these things to be revealed unto us. It depends how long you've been in it, but even years before these things are to be made manifest. As I said, the 10-year ago signs talk about these things. We knew, well, I can't say I was there, but the people prophesying, the prophets, knew before. They didn't know fully how it would happen, that they'd have this thing called the C-19. That's knowing in part and prophesying in part. But they did know that you wouldn't be able to get in a city. They did know a great enough pestilence was going to lick the earth. All of them things, but we knew I can't say we again, but they knew in part. So 2 Timothy 1 and 7, for Yahawah hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And a sound mind is to be sober, to mean to think straight, not to bug all the way out. What did we say? Love. 1 John 5. We'll start at 1. This verse always trips me up, so Salahi in advance. Whosoever believeth that Yahawashi is Hamashiach is born of Yahawah, and everyone that loveth him that begat loveth him also that is begotten of him. By this we know that we love the children of Yahawah, when we love Yahawah and keep his commandments. For this is the love of Yahawah, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. His commandments are not grievous. You hear that? Now allow that. Remind me of a scripture. What a time, man. Well, obviously we'll have to pull 2nd Ezra's. 2nd Ezra's 15 and 17. A man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. So if you want to go to, well, it depends on how the measures roll out. But say you want to go to Spain and it's a red alert. You can't do that. You can now. You'll have to come back and you'll have to get put in a prison for 10 days into a watch camp. Into a, what was the word? Fuleke, something like that. You'll have to get put into in supervision, governmental supervision, because them not trust or them not trust no. So these are the times we're heading up into. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be feared. And then we've got, that's 16. 2nd Ezra 16, and we'll start at 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you. So what would you be if you're being... Oh, these birds, man. If you're being whisked away into a quarantine detention center, then they are taking away certain of you. Alright, for behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take away certain of you, and feed you, being idle, with things offered unto idols. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach, and trodden under foot. For there shall be in every place, and in the next cities, a great insurrection upon those that fear Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. For they shall waste and take away their goods, and cast them out of their houses. So get ready to be homeless. It says, then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire. And think that not strange. Like, oh, why is Esau Edom doing this? Well, if you had your mind in the scriptures, you should know these things. I think it's 1 Peter 1:7, in fact. Yep, it says 1 Peter 1:7 that the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perisheth, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honour and glory at the appearing of Yahawashi Mashiach, whom having not seen ye love. Again, going into the spirit of love. In whom, though now ye see him not, yet believing, ye rejoice with joy unspeakable and full of glory. And when you go into that, what was that? Seen, believed. What did it speak about that? The scripture spoke about that. This is John 20:29. Yahawashi saith unto him, Thomas, because thou hast seen me, thou hast believed. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed. So that's a blessing. It says 1 Peter 1:8, whom having not seen ye love, in whom though now ye see him not, yet believing, which is a blessing, ye rejoice with joy unspeakable and full of glory, receiving the end of your faith, even the salvation of your souls. And that's what it's about. Finish. Let's get that. That was from Elder Apostle Gabar. So you've got John chapter 4:34. Yahawashi saith unto him, Salakia, Yahawashi saith unto them, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me, and to finish his work. To finish it. Well, there you have Romans 9:28. For he will finish the work and cut it short in righteousness, because a short work will the Lord make upon the earth. And also, except for the elect's sake, it will be shortened. I'll just search it. So this is Matthew 24:22. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Because, does it say that? No flesh, no flesh shall be saved. So if these days were to carry on and carry on and carry on and carry on, no one will be saved. And especially as we edge closer, it's seeing more. Again, we use that word so-called draconian, but maybe even more so. Yeah, these are good scriptures too. Romans 11:28 is concerning the gospel. They're enemies for your sakes, but as touching the election, they are beloved for the Father's sakes. 2 Timothy 2:10. Therefore I endure all things for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain the salvation which is in Mashiach Yahawashi with eternal glory. And Paul also talked about finishing the race. That's endurance. Finish course, that's it, Salah. Where should we start? Is this Salakia. You know, we'll just read it. That's not the one I'm looking for though, so. Oh, it was to Timothy, but there's also another one. There's also another one. I'm getting frustrated. Never mind. 2 Timothy 4:7. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. And then we'll get that Acts 20:24. But none of these things move me. Neither count I my life dear unto myself, so that I might finish my course with joy, and the ministry which I have received of the Lord Yahawashi, to testify the gospel of the grace of Yahawah. And there's no point in doing all of this just to slip up at the last hurdle. We're literally in the last. We're literally in the last time, man. Hebrews 6:10. For Yahawah is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, again spirit of love, which ye have shewed towards his name, in that ye have ministered to the saints and do minister. So don't slip up just because you think, oh well, the Lord will remember it. Well, he'll also remember where you went off, and where you got lazy, and where you got slothful, and you knew you could do more. Alright. So where did we come from? We'll hit 2 Ezra 16 and we'll close out. 2 Ezra 16. We'll read that. That's perfect. Talking about what we were just talking about. 2 Ezra 16:77. Woe be unto them that are bound with their sins and covered with their iniquities, like as a field is covered over with bushes, and the path thereof covered with thorns, and that no man may travel through. And just like the city. 2 Ezra 15:17. But you have to have faith that Yahawashi Mashiach is a perfect sacrifice to cover, because we've all slipped up. But do you have faith that it'll be covered in that day? So I pray that was edifying through the spirit of Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi. Shalom to the elect, double honors to the elders and apostles, and all praises, of course, to Yahawah, bahasham, Yahawashi.